he starts off by saying, it all comes back to this. No matter what you do in life, are you willing to make the decision to succeed? Are you going to stand by that decision or quit when it gets hard? Will you choose to keep working when everyone else tells you to quit? Pain comes in all sorts of disguises, physical, mental, and emotion. Do you need to be pain-free? Or can you push past it and stand by your commitment and decision to go further? It's your choice. The outcome is on you. And just messages like that, it's like, that's just real. Like someone reading the book would read that and would be like, I need to hear this. We all, do you know what that was like? Yeah. If I needed that pep talk in that moment, it was like someone gripping me up to the side and saying, fix up, you know. If you want it, go and get it, because, you know, it's only you stopping you. And I think this book is about, no excuses, be relentless and keep going. Yeah,
it's a mindset thing.
It's a mindset.
It's a mindset thing.
Go on.
No, I was going to say.
If you could put relentless into maybe a few short sentences or a few short words, how would you describe it, I guess? Or
the book.
Or being relentless.
Never give up. I think that's the best way that's the simplest way I could do. What about you?
Yeah, you know, as I asked the question, I didn't think about the answer. But that's a great point. Never give up and keep thriving. I think if I can expand on it a little bit more, keep thriving, keep learning, keep growing, and don't quit. But I think as well, quitting, you know, is often perceived as a negative, but there are some times we should quit. And I guess I don't like to call it quitting. I would call it a pivot instead of quitting. So if we go to the driving, for example, it's like you don't necessarily need to drive, but you need transport, for example. If you really couldn't learn to drive, you might learn to ride a bike, or do you know what I mean? Pivoting, maybe that's not a good example.
It's like adapting.
Adapt in a different way. So I think that's...
And that's similar, like, sorry to cut you off, but that's similar to, like, with him, he had his ACL injuries or whatnot.
Yes.
You know, basketball's obviously his passion, basketball thing like that, so he pivoted. How do I stay in the game without being a player? Do you see what I mean? So how do I stay in the game without, okay, I'm not going to make it to the NBA as a player, but I can still make it to the NBA in another fashion. So that was quite cool.
What I would, as well, just because of some of the other quotes as well, and again, this is where I guess I feel like I'm being repetitive now, because it was lots of these motivating quotes, but what would you have to sacrifice to have what you really want? And I think, and what are you willing to sacrifice? I think lots of us have ambitions and dreams and goals and things that we want to achieve, but are we willing to sacrifice it? And I guess this is more of just a thought-provoking question, hopefully, for the viewers. Like, what do you need to sacrifice to achieve what you want to achieve? And are you willing to sacrifice it? And then he says, if they don't match, if what you have to sacrifice and what you're willing to sacrifice don't match, then you don't want it bad enough. And
I think there has to be, anything significant, there has to be a sacrifice. And that's the fact of the matter. Do you see what I mean? Like, regardless of, if you want to succeed in anything, whatever, you know, whether that means go to bed earlier, go to bed later, sometimes the sacrifice even might be things like spend less time with your family or your loved ones. You know, it happens a lot, again, with athletes, they sacrifice a lot of their youth so they can become and they excel, you know, from a young age, especially if you've got kind of like a really good talent. So anything significant, could be financial, could be time, it could be whatever. I mean, that's a standard. The two go hand in hand. You know, and like you said, if they don't add up with what you're willing to sacrifice and what you want, if there's a big deficit in the middle, you don't want it bad enough, you know, because otherwise you'll be willing to. And again, some people won't understand it. They won't. You know, they won't understand. They're like, oh yeah, why? You know, you're working all night or doing this or working 2 jobs or working really late or not, you know, instead of spending your money on going on holidays, you're spending your money on this or going to this, whatever it might be. It's a sacrifice. Anything significant, you have to, you know, because again, and then it means more. Once you get to where you're trying to get to, it means more. Do you see what I mean? And then you're also willing to, but then it doesn't stop there. It keeps going, you know. And before I know I don't want to go on too long, but I was talking about this actually with my wife and a friend of mine, and then was talking about like the strive, you know, like, and and it made me think about David Goggins and this book, because you know, like, Relentless, it's never over, never stops. But then he talks about, you know, the celebrations and stuff like that. So when you're a cleaner, you don't celebrate your achievements because you always want more. A cooler's the first to arrive at the celebration and last to leave. A closer will make an appearance, then go out with his own crew. A cleaner just wants to get back to work. Where do you fit in that?
It's changed, I think, over the years. And I guess I want to, when I think about that specifically, I want to talk about boxing. Because, I mean, I've had a few boxing matches, and I remember my first boxing match, and, you know, I was over the moon. And I was saying to my dad the other day, actually, that was probably the best feeling I've ever had in my life. Like, that just achievement after all that hard training, and then you go and win. After the last one, or the last couple ones, it was like, I went back to the corner, you know, I did well, I won both of those, but I went back at the end and was like, I could have done better. I should have done this, I should have done that. So in that example, it's how can I get better now that I got the first one out of the way, if that makes sense.
That was just a snippet. To watch the full episode, click here and don't forget to subscribe.